It's a big one. I'm gonna take my time for this one. Hi, I'm Swen Vincke and I'm here to talk games with BAFTA. I think the games that made me want to make games are definitely the Ultima series and actually also Dune, because my first game was an RTS, but then I stupidly decided that RTSs was not something people were going to be interested in, so I should make something really complicated like an RPG, and so such was the start of my career. My favorite narrative in a game. It's a really good question, and there's been many. But I think the one that I was the most invested in was actually Ultima VII. Probably because I got stuck at some point, and I just kept on thinking what I was doing wrong in this incredibly non-linear sandbox that the game was. So yeah, I would say Ultima VII. Ultima was one of the first series, I think, that really gave you true agency, that allowed you in a non-linear fashion to go wherever you want and pick up adventures and stories and essentially create your own story for yourself. It also gave you an interactive world where you could actually interact with any item and solve puzzles by doing so. So it was so ahead of its time, and it was surprising to me that after playing Ultima, nobody actually picked up where Ultima left off because people went in a different direction. So I've always tried to recreate the experience I had with Ultima in the games that we make. The first game I played, I think it's Pong, but it might also be Space Invaders. When I played those first games, I remember thinking, I want to play more, but my parents didn't agree. I played more because my parents were very busy and the guy next door owned an arcade hall. I think the game I played the most in my life will have been either World of Warcraft or StarCraft 2. When I started playing World of Warcraft, my wife was pregnant, and so we played through the entire pregnancy with the baby, basically growing up. And then when he was there, he was just sitting on her lap, and we kept on playing, and now he has a really big game addiction problem, which I think we caused. My favorite game characters... well, I was in love with Morrigan in Dragon Age, but she's not my favorite character, so that's why I was. It's just because we were talking about Dragon Age before. This is a really good question. There's Mario, obviously, was a big one. Pac-Man was a big one, and I was a kid. One of my favorite characters in games is the drunk general in Civilization. Whenever you had a major victory, he came with his tankard and he said, "Ho ho, we defeated him." I love that guy. I wish they brought him back. I think my favorite mechanic is action points, because it's such a simple concept, but it has so much depth behind it, and there's so many things that you can do with it. So I would probably pick that one. My second favorite would most likely be experience points, because they're the basis of all character development. So my favorite moment or quote in a game, it's going to be really silly. It is something that just keeps on... It got stuck in my head, and it comes from a game called Cauldron, which is a really old game on the Commodore 64. It goes as follows. It's like, thine quest has failed, do not dismay, thou might succeed another day. And I was really bad at the game, and for some reason, every single time when I die in a game and it's game over, that's the thing that comes to mind. So I guess that was my favorite moment. Well, I mean, it's game overs are really good moments, because you either are super frustrated and you want to do it again. So they're probably the quote that you see the most. So yeah, I like game over. My ideal game genre, it changed over the years, I have to say. So I used to be very big into shooters and fighters. Then I became incredibly addicted to strategy games. Then it was RPGs. Now I'm more into roguelites. So it changes in function of where I am in life, I guess. For the moment, I'm playing Balatro. Balatro is a fantastic game. It's actually insane that nobody ever thought of it before. It's really, really good. Oh, there's many things that people may not know.
Tell us all of them.
Well, this is a really random tidbit, but Moonrise Towers used to be 2 towers. And now we shipped with only 1 tower. And for a long time, there was actually the ruins of the 2nd tower, and then we removed that also. So there was only 1 tower. But originally, we planned on having 2 towers. The reason we removed the extra tower was purely productionally. It was just the game was getting too big, and so we had to cut that out.
The game was getting too big. Well, the biggest game ever.
Yeah, I know, it was a very big game indeed. But yeah, you would be surprised to know that We actually had many more regions that we planned to make. So it's. I was afraid the game was going to be too short originally, but I've notoriously always been very bad at judging the length of our games. My favorite game of all time, I'm hesitating. I would probably say Ultima VII, Civilization 2, Here's the Might and Magic 3, StarCraft 2, Empire, which is a really old game, so hard to say. I do not invert controllers. Usually the reason why I don't do it is because I'm too lazy to go to the options screen. Okay, so in some flight sims, I have inverted controllers. That's true. I actually would like to add to my list of favorite games of all time, Strike Commander. So Strike Commander was also a game I liked a lot because it added mission and narrative together with flight sims. I used to play a lot of flight sims back then. I think the highlight of my career so far was most likely the release of Divinity Original Sin 1, which was our first breakthrough hit because that changed everything for us. Obviously, winning the BAFTAs, winning the Game Awards this entire year has been insane, so there were many highlights. But if I would have to pick one, I would probably pick the release of Divinity Original Sin 1 because it was really like a sense of relief, like finally we managed, after all these years, we managed to break through. We can now start doing the things that we really want to do all this time. So I think that's probably my favorite one. Games are special because they offer you a different world, a world in which you can be someone else or yourself, depending on what you are playing, where you get to make your own choices, where you know that at the end of the day, it is all not going to really affect you, and so you can do all kinds of things that you would otherwise not be able to do in life. And sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need to be in another world and to be able to enjoy an experience without having to worry about the consequences. And so that is one of the things I've always appreciated the most about games, the escapism that they offered. But at the same time, they also offer you fantastic opportunities for playing together with your friends. It is a fantastic platform to play friends with. At the same time, they are vehicles through which you can discover things you didn't know about the world. I mean, I'm not going to say that I learned a lot of history through Civilization, but I certainly started thinking about politics differently because of Civilization. So what they do by nature of their interactivity and the fact that they combine so many art forms together is they make you experience things, and they make you experience them as if they were experiences in the real world. And that is really special when it comes to games.